Hello, everybody. Good morning. This is Anup here from OpsMux again. And in today's session, we'll be discussing about Terraform integration with Spinnaker. I believe most of you are already aware of what is Terraform and what are the advantages of having Terraform. But however, I'm going to brief you about it in a small words. And as most of you are aware, Terraform is a tool for building, changing, and versioning infrastructure safely and efficiently. This can manage existing and popular service providers as well as custom in-house solutions. And as I've already mentioned you, in this document, we'll explore the options of integrating Terraform with Spinnaker by using Terraform as a planning step where it generates an execution plan. This execution plan shows what Terraform will do when you call apply, right? So let's step down for the step-by-step instructions to integrate Terraform with Spinnaker using a pipeline. So let me navigate to my Spinnaker console, and I'm going to create a new application so that there won't be any distractions. So I'll be clicking on cloud provider with considering health checks only for when cloud provider is executing tasks, and click on create. This creates my application, and I'll walk into the pipeline, configure a new pipeline. Click on create. So here I'm going to create a basic pipeline with two stages. One will be a Terraform plan stage and one will be a deployment stage. As I'm using a V2 OpenShift, I'm using a OpenShift with a V2 provider version. So I'll be using a deploy manifest here. And Terraform plan is a stage which doesn't come by default. So to get this stage, we need to provide few settings in the orca YAML in the orca local.yaml file of the Spinnaker layer. So let me first walk through what are those settings, and then I'll come back to the pipeline creation again. So this is the location of the orca local.yaml, the HAL default profiles location. And here, this is the file that we are looking at. So for a webhook stage, in our current scenario, the Terraform plan, we are actually triggering this Terraform plan as a webhook stage, right? And here we have two pre-configured labels. One is Terraform delete plan and Terraform plan. So right now, as we are talking about Terraform creation and integrating Terraform with Spinnaker, so we'll be going ahead with Terraform plan rather than deleting the plan. So and to create this plan, there are few values which a user needs to be given. Those are mandatory values. I'll walk you through those when I start adding the stage for Terraform. So add stage, select Terraform plan, and then cloud provider account. Yeah. So these are the details I was talking about. And Here the cloud provider account in my scenario, the cloud provider account I'm using as OC. Yeah. Most of you might get this doubt, like what what are these details? So, as I've told you, there are four parameters which is mandatory and manually need to be provided by the user. There is nothing but these are the four parameters: the cloud provider account, cloud provider, Git account, and the Terraform plan details. And again, you might come up with one more clarification. What is the Terraform plan details? So right now, I have four Terraform plans here. Three Terraform plans here. One is an infrastructure based, one is a namespace, and a service based. So I'm using a namespace based because that is a basic plan which works out for my demo right now. So take this. So as I've already mentioned, I'm using a namespace module here for my Terraform plan, which is again a default and a basic module that I'll be using for this demo purpose. So with this, my Terraform plan stage creation will be done, and I'll be walking through the next stage, that is deployment stage. As I've already mentioned you, I'm using a V2 deployment provider here, so I'll be using a manifest based deployment, which needs content for the manifest. So for this, I'll again walk back to the document that I have, and there is YAML already provided here. I'll go ahead and use this YAML to get the manifest. So this is the manifest that we have, and what are the details that we are capturing from this manifest. So as I've already mentioned, when we are creating a Terraform plan stage, there are few details that we have entered. That is the namespace and everything. So Terraform plan is the stage that is referring to at the first place, and the context from that stage, build info, output values. So what is output values? When a Terraform plan stage is created and completed after the namespace creation, there are certain output values which I'll demonstrate you again in this session. So when we get that output values, that will help us to validate whether if the deployment is successfully completed or not. And in this YAML content, we have provided our OpsMix REST app, which is a basic app, um, for demonstration purposes. So you can use it as it is and go ahead with your deployment. So now save changes. Yeah. So all the changes are done. Let's get back to the pipeline and click on start manual execution. Run. So earlier, as I've mentioned you, we should be able to see the output details. And so let's start with the execution of the pipeline. Let me click on the start manual execution and click on run. So with this, we should be able to look at the status of the pipeline. Previously, there was a small issue because I was using this server already for the Terraform execution. There was a namespace creator already, so hence I have modified some details and I'm re-executing again. So now, as I have mentioned earlier, this is the output values that we are talking about, which will be called up from the deploy manifest stage. And in this output, we see the namespace, we see the plan output URL, which has the entire details like the URL that needs to be accessed, the pipeline that's being executed, and the pipeline ID. So, upon successful completion of the pipeline, we will be able to deploy, we'll be able to validate the deployment, right? So, yeah, now I see, yeah, now I see the deployment is successful. So, to validate, let's go ahead and access this URL. We should be able to see a screen where the Terraform deployment is successfully completed. Yeah. So, as you're noticing this screen right now, this UI right now. So, with this, we can successfully conclude that the Terraform deployment is completed. So, yes, yeah, that's pretty much about the Terraform integration with Spinnaker. So, for any further queries or questions about the same, you can always visit us at docsopsmx.com, click on Terraform integration with Spinnaker, and write your comments here. I'll be happy to help you. Thank you so much. This is Anup Tej.